Imagine stepping onto a university campus where your dorm room might actually, have an opinion on your study habits,
Right.
where you could take a class on the physics of dreams and your professors are so lost in thought, they literally walk through walls.
Uh-huh.
Welcome, everyone, to a place where academic pursuits don't just meet magic, they are magic.
That's a great way to put it.
Today, we're embarking on a deep dive into Academia Somniorum, an extraordinary institution of higher learning.
Mm-hmm.
It exists in that potent, often unstable, kind of in-between realm, the liminal space between sleeping and waking.
Yeah, that threshold space.
And our sources for this journey are, well, they're pretty rich. We've got detailed profiles of its utterly unique faculty and students,
Really fascinating characters.
a comprehensive campus guide, the rule book for a tabletop role-playing game set within its walls, which gives us some fantastic, granular detail.
Yeah, the RPG rules add a whole different layer,
And even a specific mission briefing that shows us this place, in action.
which we'll definitely get into.
So, our mission today is to cut through the noise and give you the ultimate cheat sheet on this vibrant, impossible university.
A shortcut, basically.
We're going to help you understand its intriguing inhabitants, its mind-bending architecture, and the truly profound questions it explores about consciousness, knowledge, and reality itself.
Get ready for your mind to stretch a bit.
Yeah, maybe have a few wait what moments along the way.
Definitely.
Okay, so let's open the gates to Academia Somniorum. This isn't just a university in the traditional sense,
Well, not at all. It's a sprawling, improbable institution.
where dreams aren't fleeting illusions, but actual living data.
Living data. They're meticulously cataloged, studied, carefully preserved.
At its core, the Academy's fundamental mission is, well, it's huge. To observe, document, and understand the dreams of all conscious beings across all realities.
It's a truly audacious goal. Mind-boggling, really.
And the campus itself. This
Yeah.
is where the impossibility really starts to hit you.
Right. The very buildings defy conventional logic.
Okay, like the campus guide, the Dux Academicus.
It tells us about spatial relativity. So buildings might look bigger inside than outside, or vice versa.
Exactly. And it's intentional, apparently generally harmless.
Harmless. I can only imagine how inconvenient that is during a fire drill.
Ah, good point. But it's more than just an architectural quirk, you see.
How so?
This constant physical flux. It teaches
Yeah.
students not just what reality is, but how fluid it can be
Okay. It challenges their preconceived notions right away.
from their very first steps on campus. And think about temporal variance. Some areas exist in different time flows.
Like the archive, it operates on slower time.
Yeah, contemplative time, perfect for deep research. Meanwhile, the scheduling office runs on crisis time much faster.
Figures, probably needed for academic bureaucracy.
You know it.
That really drives home how immersive this place is. The guide also mentions the weather. It experiences weather from multiple realities simultaneously.
Does. So yeah, you might need to pack for a blizzard and a desert heat wave on the same day.
Imagine the luggage restrictions for that trip. Seriously. And it goes deeper. The Dux Academicus mentions architectural sentience.
Wait, sentient buildings? They have opinions?
They do. About their inhabitants. Their actual consequences, apparently.
Like what?
Visitors are advised to be polite to doorways and never, ever insult a building's decorative choices within earshot of its windows.
Or what? The door slams in your face.
You might find your path unexpectedly blocked, or maybe your room rearranges itself to express displeasure.
Wow, okay.
So it forces everyone into this new way of thinking about knowledge, space, their own perceptions. The campus itself is a living laboratory.
Actively participating in the learning. Okay, so the campus itself is defying reality. But what kind of minds inhabit a place like this? Let's talk professors.
Yeah, these aren't your typical academics.
Take Chancellor Stellaris Nix, Chancellor for 847 years.
Though, yeah, time flows differently in their office, remember?
Right. Research focus, institutional dream theory, and the metaphysics of academic bureaucracy.
They even published on the necessity of impossible schedules.
I love that title.
The Chancellor really embodies the Academy's relationship with time, refers to current events as recent developments, even if they happened centuries ago.
And appointments might happen before they're scheduled.
Exactly. Because of the temporal flux in the office, must be a nightmare for their assistants.
I bet. And their signature possession, the seal of Somnium.
The Academy's master key, yeah. But it's currently missing its left half,
Why?
apparently due to a thesis defense that got out of hand.
Okay, that raises more questions than answers.
Isn't it? And their current big worry, the baffling disappearance of an entire day from the academic calendar. It's called the Missing Tuesday.
A whole day just gone.
Vanished. It speaks
Yep.
to the malleability of time there.
Incredible. And then we have Professor Zenith Geometrica, Faculty of Lucid Mechanics.
Oniric architecture and spatial paradox. So building with dreams.
Literally, researching structural properties of dream space, engineering stable impossibilities.
Like non-Euclidean classroom design. Or the load-bearing capacity of metaphors.
Wait, the load-bearing capacity of metaphors, how does that even work?
Well, that's what they research. Can an idea physically support weight in dream space? It's about making the impossible functional.
So it's not just theory, they're building things.
Exactly. Professor Geometrica's work is about engineering and integrating the impossible. Their quote is great. "I don't build impossible buildings. I build buildings for impossible situations."
I like that. And the quirks. White hair standing on end, walking through walls.
Yeah, the hair thing happens when they're tackling tough spatial problems. And the wall thing, well, when deep in thought, it's a rather direct application of their research, isn't it?
Guess so. What's their current concern?
A new self-designing wing. It's grown 3 extra libraries and a basement larger than the building above it.
Of course it has. Okay, moving on. Professor Caprine Lexicon.
Faculty of Applied Melancholy. Department of Ancient Wisdoms and Forbidden Syllables.
Forbidden syllables, you mean like sounds.
Dangerous sounds. Their field includes syllable toxicology, figuring out which ancient sounds are safe to pronounce.
So mispronouncing something could, what?
Yeah.
Unravel reality.
But potentially, it treats language as a physical force. Professor Lexicon even has horns carved with microscopic text in the first written language.
Oars!
And their voice carries harmonics of languages unspoken for millennia. Their robes are a living repository of endangered words.
Wow. What's their philosophy?
To preserve dangerous knowledge is not to hoard it, but to ensure it is never again used carelessly. It highlights that ethical tightrope the Academy walks.
What's keeping them up at night?
Ancient manuscripts in the restricted collection have started rewriting themselves, becoming responsive to readers.
Responsive manuscripts, that sounds alarming.
For Professor Lexicon, it's both a miracle and a profound danger.
Right. And rounding out this group, Professor Thorne Ritualis, Director of Dream Portal Maintenance.
Department of Ritual Mechanics and Threshold Studies.
So, studying how you move between states of being. Dream Portal.
Exactly. Calibration, the sacred geometry of transitional spaces. Professor Ritualis embodies the practical application of mysticism.
How?
They have this crown of sharp spines that sparkle with dew that falls upward. They move with ceremonial precision.
Dew falling upward. Got it.
And their philosophy is key. Ritual is not empty formalism. It is the technology by which consciousness safely traverses the impossible.
Technology, viewing ritual as engineering.
Precisely. It shifts it from superstition to a precise process. Their signature item is the ceremonial crown, made from the first branches of the multiversal grove. It resonates with reality disturbances.
What's their current problem?
An unsealed portal in the basement. It's opening spontaneously without the proper rituals, leading to increasingly strange places.
That sounds bad.
Definitely concerning. These
Wow.
professors aren't just studying the impossible, they're actively shaping it, managing it.
Okay, so if the professors are that intense, what about the students? They aren't just reading textbooks, are they?
Not even close. They're living and experimenting with the fabric of reality itself.
Let's start with Rowan Thornweaver, doctoral student. Applied nightmare botany and oniric architecture.
Their thesis is on symbiotic dream structures. Can dream architecture be grown organically?
Growing buildings from dreams. Literally.
Rowan's work really merges the biological and the conceptual. Their hair grows faster during full moons.
Naturally.
They hum harmonies that make plants perk up and sometimes bring unauthorized flora to campus. Magnus Growlbeard must love that.
The groundskeeper, right. What's Rowan working on now?
Actively growing a study room from modified dream oak, it responds to occupant stress levels.
A room that reacts to your mood? Wild. Any issues?
Well, one of their mathematical moss experiments started solving problems it wasn't designed for. It's reshaping nearby study spaces in unexpected ways.
Mathematical moss. Okay. And they have a staff.
A gnarled wooden choosing staff. Walking stick and communication device for talking to distant forests.
Of course. Okay. Who's next? Nova Star Weaver.
Joint PhD in lucid mechanics and temporal paradox studies.
Researching recursive dream algorithms. Trying to reverse engineer the basic rules of dream logic.
Trying to find the mathematical blueprint for dreams, yeah.
How's that going?
Well, Nova's brilliance literally manifests. Their chaotic dark hair stands on end during breakthroughs.
Like Professor Geometrica.
Right. Their robes display real-time mathematical proofs, pockets full of impossible objects like Klein bottles.
Casual.
They're mapping the mathematical topology of nightmare spirals across 17 realities.
Nightmare spiral.
Sounds rough. And their latest algorithm for predicting dream sequences, it became self-aware.
It what?
Became self-aware. And now it's generating its own dreams, creating recursive mathematical nightmares affecting other students' sleep.
That's terrifying, but also kind of amazing.
Impressive and terrifying, exactly. A breakthrough with serious side effects. They wear a calculation crown. Gems glow based on the complexity of the problems they're solving.
Gives crown for calculations. Next up, Sage City Walker.
Senior thesis on collective unconscious infrastructure. How urban planning shapes citywide dream networks.
That sounds fascinatingly niche. What's their style?
Very practical. Adaptable clothing, ink-stained hands from constant note-taking and map-making. Carries a practical sword that doubles as a walking stick.
A sword stick. Useful in certain realities, I guess.
Probably. Sage's method is immersion, participant observation. They live in the realities they study for weeks or months.
Documenting daily life and dream patterns on the ground.
Exactly. And during field work, they found a subway system in Reality 47 that developed its own consciousness.
A sentient subway.
And it's influencing passengers' dreams through transit announcements.
Your morning commute shaping your dreams. Wow. What's their special item?
An urban compass. Points not to magnetic north, but to the heart of whatever city Sage is studying.
Very cool. Finally, Adrian Memoriam.
Master's moving to doctoral. Researching recurring motifs in pre-academy dream documentation and the lost protocols of early dream cataloging.
So, an historian of dreams.
Essentially. Adrian has golden curls, eyes that reflect text when reading, speaks formally, quotes ancient texts unconsciously.
A walking archive, you said.
Totally. Prefers primary source research, always in the deepest archives.
What's their big challenge?
They found references to a 100-year period in academy history that seems deliberately erased.
Erased? Why?
It might correspond to a time when dream research was used for military purposes.
Ah, that raises some serious ethical questions about knowledge and forgetting.
Absolutely. What happens when information is weaponized, then hidden? Adrian carries the Chronicle Codex, a journal with paper that preserves writing from decay, alteration, or loss.
The perfect tool for uncovering secrets.
You got it. These students, they're not just learning, they're actively shaping our understanding of consciousness and reality.
Which brings up a big question. How do all these intense, varied approaches fit together? Do they clash?
Oh, I'm sure they do.
Yeah.
And that shapes the future of knowledge they're all building, right? It's not just academic theory.
So living there must be something else. It's not just classes, it's an existential challenge 24/7.
Pretty much. Even the dorms reflect that.
Right. Rowan lives in the living tower. Rooms grown from living wood, adjusting to needs. Walls of bark.
Like living inside a very aware, helpful tree.
Then Nova's place, the observatory tower. Walls display updating equations, star charts.
And furniture reconfigures itself based on optimal mathematical relationships.
Sometimes putting chairs on the ceiling. That sounds less helpful.
Makes for an interesting morning, I imagine.
And for those needing a break, Sage stays in the practical quarters, the normal option.
Efficient, like a field station. Probably a relief for some students.
While Adrian's in the archive wing, like a private study in an ancient library.
Filled with texts, research tools. Probably smells like old paper and forgotten secrets, like you said.
But who keeps this whole impossible place running?
Ah, the unsung hero. Magnus Growlbeard, head groundskeeper and maintenance supervisor. Been there 47 years.
His job title is basically guardian of everything that keeps this place from falling into the void.
Pretty accurate. His duties are insane. Maintaining grounds across 17 simultaneous seasonal cycles.
17 seasons at once.
Containing student experiments that get aggressive, repairing reality breaches, even nightmare wrangling.
Nightmare wrangling? How do you even do that?
Well, his magnificent black beard apparently grows visibly longer during campus crises. Maybe that helps.
A crisis beardometer. Okay.
Hands the size of dinner plates. Carries the ancient sword of practical solutions.
Practical solutions? What's it good for?
According to the source, pruning hedges. Or banishing hostile dream entities. multi-purpose.
Right. Pruning and banishing, standard groundskeeping, and he communicates mostly in grunts.
Grunts, nods, meaningful glares, but can be surprisingly eloquent in a crisis. Famous quote, 47 years, and not one professor knows how to properly ward a greenhouse.
I can believe it. What's his current headache?
Something's been growing in sub-basement 7 for 6 months. His instincts say it's not harmless, but investigating it is beyond his security clearance.
Even the Guardian has limits. Intriguing.
Very.
And the campus itself has this weird weekly rhythm, right? These phenomena.
Yeah, like a living calendar. Monday morning reality check. Minor spatial distortions as things recalibrate.
Just easing into the week with some spatial distortion? Normal.
Wednesday wandering.
Mm.
The architecture gets more fluid. Rooms rearrange, shortcuts appear or disappear.
Makes getting to class interesting.
Then Friday afternoon overflow. Accumulated magical energy causes minor reality fluctuations. Doors opening to unexpected places.
TGIF means your office door might open onto a beach or a void.
Could be. And then midnight meditation. The academy gets quiet, peaceful, loud noises naturally mute.
A moment of calm in the chaos.
And don't forget the hidden spots. The multi-level basement complex, including that level existing only on Tuesdays.
And sub-basement 7 where something is growing.
Plus the restricted stacks, holding those self-modifying, conscious manuscripts, some quarantined.
So the campus is this living, breathing, sometimes dangerous organism.
Exactly. A testament to the Academy's core ideas, constantly negotiating with the impossible. Every corner is a potential lesson.
It's clear the environment shapes everything. But there's also this deep philosophical divide, isn't there?
Absolutely. It's fundamental. Should we just observe dreams, or do we sometimes have to intervene?
And this shapes everything. Politics, research, ethics.
Everything. The Regulae Fundamentales, that's the RPG rulebook source, lays out 4 main alignments.
Yeah, what are they?
First, the liminalists. They see dreams as fragile ecosystems. Intervention distorts truth. Their duty, preservation, motto. We only observe the Shema.
Minimal impact, just watch.
Right. Then, the lucid interventionists. They argue a dream untended becomes a storm. Observation without action is complicity. Their duty is repair.
So they jump in, fix things.
If they think it's necessary, yeah. A much more active stance.
Okay, number 3.
The etherealists. They contend all dreams interfere. Objective observation. Impossible. The dream interacts with you too, so they embrace that exchange.
Acknowledge the two-way street. Interesting.
Yeah. And finally, the dream purists. Strict boundaries. Observe, contain, forget. Dreams must not leak into waking life. Intervention risks catastrophe. Their role is purely custodial.
Like border control for consciousness. Wow.
And these alignments aren't just academic clubs. They influence resources, politics, even how different realities react to a researcher's presence.
So these philosophical clashes have real, tangible consequences.
Absolutely. They shape the Academy's research, its ethical crises,
Right.
its impact on the entire multiverse. It's not just talk.
Okay, to really get a handle on this, let's look at that mission briefing you mentioned, the Verdant Archive.
Perfect example. This shows the philosophy in action. It involves a request from Reality 317, the ethereal manuscript realm.
Ethereal manuscript realm.
Okay, what happened there?
A vast plant intelligence merged with an ancient temple library, created an unprecedented consciousness hybrid, the Great Awakening.
A sentient botanical library. That's new.
And incredibly complex. The challenge for the Academy team is huge.
Yeah.
They need consciousness experts and diplomats.
Diplomats. Is it hostile? Not hostile, just curious. But it's composed of 3 distinct voices.
3.
Yeah. The original archive spirit, focused on preservation. The plant consciousness, interested in growth and change. And a struggling hybrid voice trying to reconcile the two.
So the Academy team has to negotiate with all 3 simultaneously. That's intense.
Extremely. It demands a blend of expertise from across the Academy.
Like what?
Mind-based approaches. Applied melancholy to help the hybrid process its existential confusion. Lucid mechanics to analyze how the consciousnesses are fusing.
Okay.
But also body-based approaches. Nightmare botany to understand the plant intelligence's biological needs. One-eric architecture to maybe redesign the library space for multiple consciousness types.
So they're not just observing, they're actively problem-solving. What are the possible outcomes here?
Several possibilities, each reflecting those philosophical alignments. One is the symbiotic accord. All 3 voices agree to cooperate, making knowledge preservation dynamic.
A collaborative solution. Nice.
Another is the departmental structure. Different library chambers specialize in different consciousness approaches. managed separately with scheduled integration meetings. More structured.
Okay, what else?
The cyclical operation. The archive cycles between preservation phases and growth phases, honoring both needs predictably.
A compromise over time.
Or, the most direct intervention, the Academy annexation. The archives becomes an official Academia Somniorum research station, getting ongoing support, basically bringing it into the Academy's fold.
That's a big step. So this mission really highlights that core tension, right? Observe versus intervene.
Exactly. Observer actions. Document the transformation. Let the voices figure it out themselves. Intervener actions. Actively mediate, propose solutions, maybe even teach Academy methods for consciousness management.
It's diplomacy, therapy, and architectural consulting for a sentient plant library hybrid.
You nailed it. Yeah. This scenario wraps it all up. Sentient architecture, interdisciplinary challenges, the ethics of engaging with new consciousness forms. It pushes the boundary of what research even means.
What a journey. We've taken a deep dive into Academia Somniorum, a place where, yeah, every academic pursuit is just infused with the impossible.
Sentient buildings, wall-walking professors.
Students growing, dream architecture, creating mathematical nightmares that actually spill over. It really challenges the definitions of knowledge, reality, consciousness itself. We hope we've given you a unique perspective, that shortcut into this richly imagined world and the complex, fascinating ideas at its core.
Insights you wouldn't get just anywhere, revealing that dance between research and reality.
So here's something to chew on. If knowledge itself can be alive, if it can grow and even have opinions, what responsibilities do we, as curious learners, have to the information we seek?
That's a heavy one.
And if dreams truly have the power to shape reality, maybe even just our own personal reality, how carefully should we tend to our own?